You wake up determined. Today is different. You've blocked your calendar, silenced notifications, and set clear goals. By noon, you've checked email 17 times, responded to 9 non-urgent messages, and fallen down 3 rabbit holes. That had nothing to do with your priorities. This isn't a willpower problem. It's an identity problem. The monk mode framework I'm about to share completely transformed how I approach my work, allowing me to accomplish in one focused hour what used to take an entire day. If you're tired of ending each day wondering where all your time went, this video is for you. Your productivity struggle runs deeper than your task management system or morning routine. The real issue lies in who you believe you are. When I ask clients about their professional identity, they almost always describe themselves as responsive, available, and connected. I'm the person who gets back to everyone quickly. I pride myself on being accessible to my team. These aren't just habits. They're fundamental beliefs about what makes you valuable. This identity creates a profound conflict. You aspire to produce meaningful work requiring sustained concentration, yet your self-picture demands constant interruption. I experienced this myself when writing my first book. Despite blocking time for writing, I felt physically uncomfortable not checking messages. The discomfort wasn't about missing information. It was about violating my core identity as someone who stays connected. Your brain is remarkably efficient at maintaining consistency between your behaviors and your self-perception. Neuroscientists call this identity homeostasis. Your neural pathways actively resist actions that contradict who you think you are. When you try to focus deeply while identifying as a responsive professional, your brain experiences this as cognitive dissonance and works to eliminate the contradiction, usually by pulling you back to your inbox. This explains why forcing yourself to concentrate often produces anxiety rather than flow. Your brain perceives deep work as a threat to your established identity. The stress response activates blood in your system with cortisol and adrenaline, making sustained focus nearly impossible. The discomfort you feel isn't weakness. It's your brain working exactly as designed to maintain your current identity. A study from the University of California found that professionals attempting productivity improvements without addressing identity factors experienced a 70% failure rate within just 3 weeks. They reverted to baseline behaviors despite genuine desire for change. This isn't surprising when we understand that working harder within your existing identity framework actually strengthens the neural pathways maintaining your inefficiency. Each time you check email between focused work sessions, you reinforce the responsive professional identity that prevents sustained concentration. The costs of this identity conflict are substantial. Research from Stanford University reveals that the average professional loses 23% of their cognitive capacity to task switching and recovery from interruption. This means nearly a quarter of your mental resources aren't devoted to your actual work, but to the transition penalties between tasks. More concerning, these penalties compound throughout the day, leaving you mentally depleted precisely when you need clarity for complex decisions. Your calendar reflects this identity crisis. You likely schedule meetings throughout the day, leaving small gaps that seem useful, but actually prevent the momentum necessary for significant work. You keep communication channels open during focus time, just in case something important comes up. These behaviors aren't random. They're perfect expressions of your current identity that values availability over depth. This explains why traditional productivity advice fails. Adding more techniques to an identity that fundamentally conflicts with deep work creates more friction, not less. No app, framework, or system can overcome your brain's determination to maintain identity consistency. This insight reveals why changing your calendar, installing website blockers, or using the Pomodoro technique provides only temporary relief. You're treating symptoms while ignoring the root cause. The solution requires a temporary identity shift, what I call monk mode. Unlike permanent identity reconstruction, which takes months or years, monk mode creates a strategic, time-bound identity reset. For specific periods, you step completely out of your responsive professional identity and into a different persona focused exclusively on depth. This isn't about becoming a different person permanently. It's about creating contained periods where you operate under different rules. Successful creators, executives, and researchers have adopted monk mode because it bypasses the brain's resistance mechanisms. When you explicitly shift identities for a defined period, your brain doesn't experience the same cognitive dissonance that occurs when you try to modify behaviors within your existing identity. The time-bound nature also makes the practice sustainable. You're not abandoning your responsive identity forever, just setting it aside temporarily to access your highest cognitive capabilities before implementing monk mode effectively. You need to understand why your current approach undermines your productivity goals. Most people attempt productivity improvements by adding new behaviors, while maintaining their existing identity, creating internal conflict that dooms their efforts from the start. Is predictable, initial enthusiasm, growing discomfort, and eventual abandonment of the new behaviors despite their obvious benefits. Breaking this cycle requires more than new techniques. It requires temporarily becoming someone different. The conventional approach to productivity improvement revolves around techniques and tools, but rarely addresses the full process required for successful deep work. I discovered this gap when mentoring executives who consistently failed to implement focus sessions despite their best intentions. Their mistake wasn't choosing the wrong method. It was missing entire phases of the implementation process. Monk mode requires 3 distinct phases: preparation, immersion, and reintegration. Each phase serves a specific purpose in making your focus time both productive and sustainable. Most attempts at monk mode collapse because people jump directly into the immersion phase. Without proper boundaries or expectation management, they close their door, silence their phone, and expect to work uninterrupted. Within minutes, their colleague is knocking with an urgent question. Their phone is vibrating with texts asking why they aren't responding, and their mind is racing with anxiety about what they might be missing. Without the preparation phase, the immersion phase becomes unsustainable, and without the reintegration phase, each monk mode session feels like starting from zero. The preparation phase establishes the conditions for successful deep work. First, set clear expectations with colleagues about your availability. I recommend sending a simple communication 24 hours before your monk mode session, stating when you'll be unavailable and how to reach you in a genuine emergency. Create physical boundaries by selecting a dedicated space for your work, ideally somewhere different from where you handle reactive tasks. Your brain forms strong environmental associations, so a physical location shift supports your identity transition. Finally, preload decisions to conserve willpower. Before entering monk mode, determine exactly what you'll work on, what resources you'll need, and what success looks like. This preparation minimizes decision fatigue during your focus time. Immersion phase is where the actual deep work happens. Structure this time in 90-minute increments aligned with your body's natural ultradian rhythm, the attention cycle that governs your cognitive energy. Working with this biological pattern rather than against it maximizes your mental capacity. Consider strategic caffeine timing as well. Research shows that consuming caffeine about 30 minutes before your session can enhance focus, while consuming it immediately before might increase anxiety. I've found that specific ambient sounds enhance neural entrainment during monk mode. Binaural beats tuned to alpha frequencies, 8 to 12 hertz, or natural white noise like rainfall can mask distractions, while promoting the brainwave patterns associated with focused attention. The reintegration phase, often completely overlooked, determines whether your monk mode practice becomes sustainable. When emerging from deep work, resist the urge to immediately check communications. Instead, document your insights and progress while they're fresh. This creates a tangible record of your monk mode benefits, reinforcing the value of the practice. Next, process accumulated communications in batches rather than individual pieces. This maintains some of the batch processing mindset from your focused work. Finally, schedule your next monk mode session before ending the current one. This commitment device helps overcome the inertia that often prevents consistent practice. As you gain comfort with monk mode, implement monk mode stacking to extend your immersion periods. Begin with single 90-minute sessions, then progress to combining 2 or 3 sessions with short breaks between them. These half-day monk mode blocks can eventually expand to full-day deep work sessions. Each extension multiplies your output exponentially rather than linearly, because deeper states of focus become accessible with longer immersion periods. Digital tools can enhance monk mode when properly configured. Time tracking applications like Toggle provide objective feedback on your focus duration. Calendar blocking tools with autoresponder integration create seamless boundaries. Focus apps that temporarily block distracting websites and applications enforce digital boundaries when willpower wavers. The key is selecting tools that support your intention rather than becoming new sources of distraction. The 3-phase approach ensures you maintain professional relationships while creating protected space for deep work. By setting clear expectations during preparation, you respect colleagues' needs for information. By thoroughly documenting progress during reintegration, you demonstrate the value your focused time creates for the team. Far from damaging professional connections, thoughtfully implemented monk mode often improves them by making your contributions more substantial. Now that you understand the framework, you need clear guidance on when to activate monk mode and how to begin today. While the complete system may seem complex, implementation can start remarkably simply. The critical factor isn't perfection, but momentum. Taking that first step into a different way of working that acknowledges the identity dimension of productivity. What makes monk mode different from the productivity techniques you've already tried is that it addresses the identity conflict at the core of your focus problems. This isn't about adding another tool to your system. It's about temporarily becoming someone different. Your first attempt doesn't require elaborate preparation. Schedule 90 minutes tomorrow morning. Notification, close your email. Work on your most significant task with complete presence. The results will likely surprise you. I've watched professionals transform not just their output, but their sense of possibility through this practice. They discover capacities they didn't know they possessed, not by forcing change, but by creating space for their true capabilities to emerge.